Today, I'm going to talk about how to get your clients to keep staying and keep paying for years. Look, everybody's totally focused on how to get more clients. I get that. That's important. But almost nobody's talking about how to make more money from the clients you already have. Or when you get these new clients, how do you stop it from being a one-time transaction and then keep those people paying you for years to come? How do we retain these clients? And some of my clients have paid me over $100,000. A few of them have crossed 500,000. I think the record is somewhere around 850,000 from a single client. Now, look, none of these people wrote a check that big on day one. There's no magical close that's going to get a stranger to just like hand you 100,000 or 500,000 or $1 million. There is a model that turns a client into somebody who stays with you and pays you for years. And that's what I'm going to walk you through today. I'm Russ Ruffino. This channel is about how I built an AI powered $100 million coaching company that fits in a backpack and what I learned scaling our business past $1 million a month. I love my wife. I love my life. Hopefully, you can learn something from all this. Your results depend totally on you. Let's dive in. All right, quick thing before we start. I built you a free tool for this one. It's called the Backend Blueprint. So you tell it about your current program. It's actually going to help you design your entire backend offer along the lines of what I'm going to talk to you about here. Your continuity offer, your mastermind tiers, your pricing, the whole structure. It's going to map it all out for you. So just comment with the word backend under this video and I'll send it to you. All right, do that right now and then follow along. And you don't have to take notes or anything like that. All right. In your coaching business, one of the worst places you can be is having to start over from zero every single month. That sucks. The month goes by, you have an amazing month, and then all of a sudden you're back at zero. You got to start all over again. You got to go out there, you got to find new strangers, you got to pay to reach them, convert them, and enroll them just to get back to where you were 30 days ago forever. So that treadmill is why a lot of coaches who look successful on the outside are really just like one bad month away from total panic. So fundamentally, what this video is about is how do we create recurring revenue so that, we're not starting from zero every month, right? Every month, we're starting from 100K or 200K or 500K that is going to come in, even if you're vacationing in Europe, even if you want to, I don't know, sit around and play video games all day, right? Even if you want to play with your kids, whatever you're into, I want to give you the freedom to do it. So here's how we do it at Clients on Demand. When we studied our own customer base, here's what we found: 12 to 15% of our clients upgraded into a program that cost about 3 times our front end price. And 3% of our front end clients upgraded into a program at roughly 6 times the front end price. Just those two back end offers added about 50% to our revenue. But here's the part that matters: it added something like 66% to our profit. So again, why is the profit number bigger than the revenue number? Because we spent $0 to acquire those clients, right? We already paid for them the first time. Every dollar of back end revenue comes in without me having to spend any more money on advertising to get those people. So the front end buys the client, but the back end is what really takes the profits to the next level. So I'll give you more on that in a minute, what that looks like. But there's a second effect that might be even more important than the profit, and that's the floor. So if you've got a mastermind at like $5,000 a month with just 10 people in it, you start every month again at $50,000 of recurring revenue before you make a single new sale. You're never starting from scratch again. I cannot describe what that does for your peace of mind, for your decision making, for your ability to invest in your future growth. When you know that you've already got a baseline of income coming in, no matter what happens, you don't have to be desperate. You can think, you can strategize. So your immediate goal, in my opinion, should be to generate enough recurring revenue that your payroll is covered, your ad spend is covered, and your business expenses are covered at a minimum. That means that anything you do on top of that is pure profit. So at the very least, you want your back end revenue to be strong enough that your immediate business expenses are covered from month to month. And one more thing, because this is like the really important piece: the business that has a back end can afford to spend more money to acquire a client than a business that doesn't. So in other words, if a client is worth $15,000 to your competitor who doesn't have a back end program, but it's worth $45,000 to you over the course of that relationship, you could spend way more than they can to get the attention you need, to get the clients you need, and you'll still be a lot more profitable. So the back end isn't just like extra money. It's not just gravy. It also lets you win on the front end too. And look, basically, there's a million numbers you need to keep track of in your business, right? Your cost per book call, your show up rate, your enrollment rate, the click through rate on your ads, right? All these different numbers are like different things you have to watch. But at the end of the day, there's really only two numbers that your whole business boils down to. That is your CAC. That's your cost to acquire a client. And that is your LTV, which is your lifetime value. So here's what it's costing you to acquire a client. Here's what that client's worth. You want the spread between those two numbers to be as big as you could possibly get it. So if you're spending $2,000 in ads to acquire a client, but that client's worth $100,000 to you over the lifetime of that relationship, then you've really got something that you could like scale the living hell out of, and you should. All right, so how do we create this? Well, here's the basic architecture. You start with a high ticket front end offer that solves a major life or business challenge. You save someone's marriage, you help them lose 30 pounds, you help them overcome some autoimmune condition, whatever it is. You help them get their business from, being in the red to actually being profitable. You're taking them from bad to good. Now, offers like that are usually an 8 to 12 week online coaching program. That's what we help our new coaches build at Clients on Demand. We usually encourage our clients to price those kinds of programs somewhere between like $5,000 to $15,000. Got it? All right. Now, when people graduate from your 8 to 12 week program, you absolutely want to have something else to offer them. So there's basically two ways to do this. If you're just starting out and you don't have that many grads, the simplest backend offer in the world is what I call quick and dirty continuity. So here's the whole thing. Somebody finishes your 8-week coaching program and they go, "Look, I don't want to leave. I want to keep working together." And you say, "Cool, you don't have to. You can keep coming to the Q&A calls. You can keep the community. You can keep the support. In other words, everything you've already got now, and you keep access to it is $1,000 a month. That's it. That's the offer." Now, notice what it costs you to deliver. Nothing. You're already running those calls. You're already running that community. A few more people in the room doesn't really add that much work to your week. And every single one of those people is $1,000 a month of pure recurring revenue. So if people are graduating from your program right now and they're just like disappearing into the ether, you're leaving a hell of a lot of money sitting on the table. And you could roll this offer out today. You get 10 people in there, that's $10,000 a month of recurring revenue. So again, you're not starting from zero every single month. So that's the first thing you create, quick and dirty continuity. And then when you have enough graduates of your front end program, that's when you build the real thing, a proper mastermind. So the whole architecture looks like this. Let me map this out for you. You've got your you've got your front end program, and that's about going from bad to good. Now this is usually 5K to 15K. Then on the back of that, they go to your mid-tier mastermind. That's about going from good to great. And like I said, that's usually 3 times the price. So that would be 15K to 45K. Then you've got your high tier mastermind. That's about going from like great to, amazing. And that is usually 6 times the price. So that would be 30K to like 60K, let's say. Okay. So let's talk about what these masterminds look like. The reason most masterminds suck is because they're one of two things. Either it's come hang out with the guru, touch the hem of my garment. Maybe some of my masterminds will trickle down to you, and it's a cult of personality. All right. I hate those masterminds. That's bullshit. The second kind of mastermind is a little bit better, but not much. And that's the kind that's all about the community, right? So there's no focus, there's no curriculum, there's no outcome. It's just let's put a bunch of smart people together in a room, shake it up, maybe some good ideas will fall out. All right. Now, those are really good for networking, right? You tend to go to those kinds of mastermind events, you walk away with a notebook full of ideas, but there's no implementation. There's no guidance on how to take all those random ideas you got from all those smart people and how to like actually integrate it into a workflow in your business and into what you're doing right now. And again, you know, if you want to, you can spend $50,000 to make some new friends. That's the mastermind for you. Okay. But the kind of mastermind that I believe is the best is an outcome driven mastermind. So again, your front end program is about going from bad to good. Your mid tier mastermind is about going from good to great. Your highest level mastermind is about going from great to legendary. But at each phase of that program, you need some kind of clear outcome that's attached to it. Does that make sense? So in Clients on Demand, our front end program is about building the client attraction system. So we create your high ticket offer, we build it, the system to fill that offer with clients, and we're getting some clients in the door. We have some momentum, right? That's the outcome we're shooting for in that program. Now, on the back of that program, we have a mid-tier mastermind we call Lions Pride. And that mastermind is really for coaches that are doing up to around 40K a month. And then we have our highest level mastermind. And that program is really for coaches that are doing, between, let's say, 100,000 a month and a million a month or more. So each phase of the journey is built around ascending to that next level and achieving that next outcome. So for you, let's say you have a fitness offer. Maybe your front end program is about losing 30 pounds, right? Or your mid-tier mastermind, right? Maybe could be about, then getting into like Fight Club shredded shape. And then your highest tier mastermind, again, that's like the legendary tier, about going from, great to legendary. That would be about, like, I don't know, running Spartan races or elite fitness or like serious biohacking with doctors and a medical team. Does that make sense? So it's good, it's bad to good, and then it's good to great, and then it's great to legendary. And each one of those has an outcome. Okay. So in addition to building each mastermind you roll out around a specific, amazing, measurable outcome, there's a few other things that people want too. First, they want to always be on the cutting edge. So in your mastermind, you should be telling them about all your new discoveries and all the things you're testing. So when we spend like millions of dollars a year on advertising and testing, we are always updating our mastermind clients about what's working now. And in that way, they can focus on their own clients. They don't have to worry about falling behind on the latest marketing trends, the latest tactics. All right. That's my job, to keep them up to date on that. That should be your job too in your mastermind. Now, they also want community and experiences. So the more AI saturated things get, the more people crave real human interaction. So you want to build a real community, and then you want to curate, some live events where the people in your mastermind can get together in person now. Um, when you when you build a community, it's got a price. And the price is that you have to be very, very picky about who you let into your mastermind. You have to have very clear standards. So you want people in there that you want to hang out with, that are your best clients, that are coachable, decisive, and resourceful, and they're going to raise the collective IQ of the whole group. So I also strongly recommend that in your masterminds and in your company, you have an ironclad no jerks policy. A single person with bad energy is like a turd in a swimming pool. So imagine a swimming pool, right? There's a tiny little piece of poop floating in that swimming pool. How big would that pool have to be before you would go in there with that poop floating in there, right? Honestly, there isn't any size pool that you would go in. Even if the pool was miles wide, if there's one piece of poop in there, you're not going in. So there's not a pool big enough in the world that you would swim in it. You have a zero tolerance policy toward poop in the pool. You should have the exact same policy toward having jerks in your mastermind or jerks working at your company. And third, these people want results. So I had a girl join my mastermind once who paid a really well-known guru, maybe like the most well-known guru, $130,000 to help her with her webinar and her event. And he wouldn't even look at the slides. That's insane. If people are joining your mastermind, they're there to get a certain result, and you should be willing to do whatever you need to do to coach them to that result. And that's why I love outcome driven masterminds, right? Your clients in your mastermind are either getting closer to the goal or they're not. So in my masterminds, I want everybody getting richer every single day in every single way. That's my goal. And what's cool is that's a measurable binary outcome. They're either getting it or they're not. They're either growing their business or they're not. And if they're not, then we can intervene and then we can see what we have to do to get them to the outcome. Does that make sense? Now, a question I get all the time is this: Russ, well, what if I roll out this mastermind like you're talking about and only one person signs up? Let me answer that with a question. I want you to imagine that you saw an ad that said Bruce Lee has come back from the grave. He's teaching one karate class at one time only. And you show up and you're the only person there. Would you be mad? Or would you think that was the coolest thing ever because now you get all of Bruce Lee's attention? So remember, every mastermind in history started with that first member. Your first member doesn't see a failure. They get private access to you at a group price. So listen to this video, watch this video, and roll it out. Now, here's the dirty little secret of the coaching world. The average length of stay in a mastermind is about 4 months. Four. People join, they poke around, they quit inside of 4 months. Now, compare that to ours. In our mid tier mastermind, the average stay is around 15 months. In our highest level mastermind, it's 3.5 years. So, those clients I mentioned at the start of this video, right? The ones who, their total investment with us over the years was like over 500K or 850K, they didn't just like wire us that whole chunk one day, they joined and they kept choosing to stay month after month, year after year because the room kept delivering. So you want to make your results so good that people would feel crazy to leave. A mastermind that keeps people for years, again, just to recap, has a few things. It's got a clear outcome. So again, your front end program took them from bad to good. The mastermind takes them from good to great. Everyone in the room knows what great means. You need to give them a rock solid strategy for getting there. You need to give them world class support to execute. So nobody's ever stuck alone. Everything is about results, results, results. People will stay in a mastermind for years out of loyalty, but I want them to stay because they're actually watching their lives and their businesses get better month after month, year after year. One other quick thing I think about when I think about masterminds. I like to think about masterminds in terms of Tony Robbins' six human needs. So that's certainty, variety, significant, connection, growth, and contribution. Design your masterminds to meet as many of those as you can. All right. So certainty, they need reassurance, they need a clear path to results. Variety, you're always teaching them the newest thing. Significance, you're giving them awards, you're giving them trophies, you're giving them acknowledgement, you're making them feel valued. Connection, that's that community and live events piece I mentioned earlier. Growth, keep it outcome driven, measure their progress, make sure they're up leveling, and then contribution. Have your mastermind members teach each other, have them share their latest and greatest discoveries. People love that. They love to contribute to the group. All right, so let me tie this whole thing together for you. Number one, understand the math and understand what's at stake. I don't want you starting from zero every month. So you got to have some kind of continuity or subscription or mastermind in your business that creates recurring revenue. And again, it all comes down to two numbers: your CAC, that's your cost to acquire a client, and your LTV, that's your lifetime value. You want the spread between those to be as big as you can. The lowest possible cost to acquire or the highest possible lifetime value. Now, two, three layers, all high ticket. Front end program between, let's say, 5K to 15K. When people graduate from there, you offer quick and dirty continuity. They can keep going to the Q&A calls and getting support for $1,000 a month, right? That's where you start. Then when you have about 100 grads or more, then you roll out a mid-tier mastermind. You price it about 3 times the price of your front end. So that'd be like 15K to 45K. That program is about going from good to great. And then when you're ready, you roll out an even higher tier mastermind, which is 6 times the price of your front end. So 30,000 to 90,000, something like that. And that's about going from great to legendary. And then three, make staying the obvious choice by focusing totally on results while you meet your clients' emotional needs. Like I said, average retention in the mastermind industry is 4 months. For us, it's 3.5 years. You decide who you want to listen to, okay? And again, if you want this mapped out for your business, we have this backend blueprint. It'll help you design your tiers, your pricing, all your deliverables. Just comment with the word backend and we will give you the link to that. Now, here's the most important part of this whole video because there's a reason that you're going to hear everything I just said and you're going to nod along and you're going to go, oh, it'd be great to have some recurring revenue, but then you're not going to do anything. And it has nothing to do with strategy. Here's your spiritual North Star as you build this out because there's one huge reason that people don't do it. You understand the math, you understand the strategy, but you won't do this. And the reason you won't do this is because you're terrified. You just sold a client something for $5,000 or $15,000 or whatever. And then the thought of selling them something else is terrifying to you, right? What if they're stuck? What if they didn't get results? They just invested X. Now you're asking them to invest Y. But I want you to think about the way that transformation really works. It doesn't end their journey, it starts one. So the client who finishes your marriage program and saves their marriage now has to like live in that marriage for the next 40 years, right? The coach who gets their first 10 clients through your program, now they have a business to run. They have a team to build. They're going to be facing decisions that they've never faced before. So success doesn't like eliminate their problems. It just changes them. It upgrades them. Your program handed them a whole new level of life, but that new level of life comes with a whole new set of challenges that they've never seen before, right? And if you ditch them at that stage, you're doing them a huge disservice. So I have a client that does career coaching. She's great at getting her clients the promotions and pay raises they deserve. But what's worse than not having your dream job? Getting your dream job and then screwing it all up and getting fired. So her backend program is about making sure that her clients land that job and then thrive in the job. Right. So it's like I have other clients who are dating coaches. It's the same story. What's worse than not finding the love of your life? Finding that person and falling in love and then totally blowing it. So that's what the backend program is there to stop them from doing. You see what I mean? You're not solving every problem in a person's life in your front end program. You're just solving their biggest, most pressing problem. Yeah, it's a $5,000 or $15,000 problem. Sure, that's why we charge that much. But you fix it, and then right away they're going to run smack dab in a whole new set of challenges, and you're not going to leave them high and dry when they do. You're going to continue to be there for them, and that's what your mastermind is for. So ask the question that I've taught you to ask before every sales call, but ask it about your grads too. What happens to this person without my help? And like really picture it. Even if they're doing great, they walk out of your world at the moment of maximum momentum alone with brand new problems and nobody who can help them fix them, right? Some of them are going to stall out. Some of them are going to backslide. They're going to go back to their old bad habits. And that transformation you worked so hard to create just falls apart because a transformation without like ongoing maintenance and upkeep is just temporary. And you know this, you've watched it happen. And when it happens, was it noble that you didn't offer them a way to stay? Or did you abandon them at the moment that your help mattered most because you were afraid to sell them what they really needed? So here's the question to carry with you. For every client who's coming to the end of your program, ask what happens to this person if I vanish from their life right now? And if the honest answer is, yeah, they'll be fine, okay, great, let them go. But if the honest answer is they're about to face a road that they've never walked before and they're about to face it alone without my help, then I think you owe it to them to offer them some kind of continuity program or mastermind. And look, I'll tell you something else. My mastermind clients are the best people out there. I love coaching my mastermind. So if you don't have one, you're not just denying those clients who need your help, you're denying yourself too. Now, if any of this resonated with you and you're wondering how I can help you succeed, there's basically two things we can do for you. Number one, we can take your expertise, we can turn it into a $5,000 to $15,000 coaching program that you can run from anywhere in the world, help you map out those back end offers too. And two, once you have that kind of coaching program, we can install our $100 million AI powered client attraction system right into your business to help you scale. So if you want to know more about what that looks like, there's a link in the description of this video. Click that link. It'll take you to another page where I will walk you through the whole thing. Now, last thing, finally, we release videos like this once or twice a week. So tell me in the comments, what happens to your clients when they graduate? Do you have a back-end program? If so, what it is? This is your chance. Jump in the comments and like talk about how awesome your back-end program is, right? Do you have a back end or do they just disappear? And if there's something else you're struggling with in your business, let me know. And if I can make a video about it to help you fix it, I will. I read every single one of those comments. So drop me a comment. Let me know how I can help.